Welcome everyone. This is a 30-minute backbend practice, and the emphasis of backbend is just to alternate or do the opposite of what we typically have happen to us as we age, which is that we start to shrink and move forward. And part of that is just out of habit and to protect ourselves, just because the most important parts of ourselves tend to be in the front side. We rarely go into the mirror and check out what's going on in the back, but most of the good things and the soft things and the vulnerable things are in the front of the body. So as we get older and have experiences, we tend to protect and hug in a little bit more. So what yoga teaches us with backbends is the ability to balance out the body and feel liberated and open again. And interestingly enough, children are extremely open in their backbends. So you learn backbends by doing backbends, so let's go right into it. So please start in downward facing dog position, not a backbend, but just a common position to warm up the body and get moving. Actively push your hands forward, bend your knees and tilt your sit bones up into the air. Take a big breath in and a big breath out. Then inhale, come forward, plank position, the top of a push-up. Big breath in and a breath out. Then lower your knees, bend your elbows, slowly lower all the way to the floor. Point your toes back, and on an inhale, lift your chest up, pull your elbows back, look forward. Big breath in. And then exhale, lower back down from hands and knees, push up, and then tuck your toes and press back to down dog. Step your right foot forward between your hands and rise up. Place your hands to your hips and pause. Actively pull your feet towards each other. Puff up your chest, move your shoulders back. And then from here, cup the back of your head and lean it back just a little bit here. Just an early warm up for the back bend. In order to backbend, it requires aspects of shoulder openings and then front of the thigh openings, and of course just actually doing backbends. Turn to the floor, plant your hands down, and step back to plank pose. Here in plank, pause at the top, inhale. Lower your knees, exhale, lower down halfway, pause and hold. Then, with your toes tucked, lift your knees, chaturanga. Then keep your shoulders as they are, lower your pelvis. That's low cobra position, point your toes. And then high cobra, pushing your arms straighter, also known as just cobra pose. Bhujangasana, actively push down, move your shoulders back, look forward, try to lift the rib cage higher so you feel a stretch for your belly. And then exhale, push back, downward facing dog. Immediately step your left foot forward, rise up, place your hands to your hips and pause. Puff up your chest, move your shoulders back, and then cup the back of your head. Point your elbows forward, keep your back leg strong, sink into your front leg, and then lean it back. Lean it to your edge, curling back, and then turn to the floor, plant your hands, and step back to plank pose. Again, lower your knees, just building the strength and trying not to tire out. Lower down halfway, pause, lift your knees, and then this time just flip over your feet for upward facing dog. Actively push your hands down, move your shoulders back, look forward, and then roll over your toes and back to downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward, lower your back knee down. I like to point the back toes for this one. Then rise up, place your hands to your front thigh. So going into a back bend also just means having one leg go further into the back plane of the body. So low lunge is actually more challenging than the lunge we just did, because you have the capacity to go further for the lower and back leg. So here, pull the legs towards each other so your legs get strong, and then start to bend further into your front knee. And then from there, cup the back of your head and start to lean it back. And you may feel a stretch even in the lower waistline area for your psoas muscles. As you lean and curl back, staying strong, push your left knee forward and then plant your hands. Step back to plank pose. Option to have your knees lifted. Slowly lower all the way to the floor. Point your toes back, reach your arms alongside you. Inhale, lift up for Shalabhasana. Lifting your legs, lift your arms, lift your chest, lift your shoulders, look forward. And then lower down, tuck your toes, push back up. Press back, down dog. Step your left foot forward, lower your back knee down. Rise up, hands to your front thigh. JBY, and then move your hips forward and back just so you can feel the sensation of the stretch of your back leg. So at what point is too far, or not enough, that's up to you. Actively pull the legs towards each other, sink in lower with your front leg. It is okay for the knee to go past the ankle when your back knee is down, just because there's way more weight in that back leg, and then cup the back of your head, curl back, lean back. Okay, and then touch your hands down and step back to plank pose. Pausing at the top. Again, you could always have your knees down. Bend your elbows lower down halfway. Chaturanga. Pause. And then lower all the way to the floor. Point your toes. Reach your arms back this time. Clasp your hands behind your back. Bend your elbows a little bit. Move your shoulders forward and then up. And then push your arms straighter. Lift your chest. Lift your arms. Lift your legs. Look forward. Some can lift the hands a lot higher than I can. Whew, that's intense. And then lower down, hands under your shoulders. Push your way back up and press back, downward facing dog. Step your right foot forward between your hands. Turn your left foot to the left, right hand to the outside of your foot. Left hand to your hip, side angle position. You're always welcome to use a block and put it underneath your hand. So going for the outside of the foot as opposed to the inside of the foot, move your shoulder back. And the reason there is you could technically turn it into a bit more of a back bend and then lean back that way. Hi, great. Okay, and then turn to the floor. Hands down, step back plank, and then lower all the way down. This time, cup the back of your head, bend your knees, and then lift your knees, lift your head, lift your elbows, lift your chest, rise up, Makarasana prep pose. You don't get this one for free. Nobody likes this pose. That's okay. You're part of the club. And then lower down, tuck the toes, lift up, and push back. Down dog. Step your left foot forward, turn your right foot out. Right hand to your hip, twist to the right, bend into the knee. Move your shoulder back again. You can move the hand further off to the side, so you can turn it into a little bit of a back bend and even cup the back of your head. You might be limited by the wall in this case. Using this pose also just build some heat and overall stretch for your legs as well. Okay, and then turn to the floor, hands down, and step back plank, and then lower all the way down to the floor. This time reach your arms forward in front of you, lift your arms, lift your legs, rise up as high as you can, kind of like a superhero pose. Lift, lift, lift. These are the strengthening back bends that require effort to lift up into them. Okay, then hands under your shoulders. Tuck your toes, push your way up, press back down dog. There's quicker ways to get into half moon. You just have to step your right foot halfway forward, go figure, half moon, and then lift your left leg up. Turn your foot to the left, bounce on your right hand. You could use a block if you'd like. Adding a little bit more of back bend to this one, bend your left knee and grab hold of your foot for a thigh stretch. So twisting to the left, push your right leg straighter. Okay, and then release your foot. Turn to the floor, hand down, step back, plank pose. From plank pose, lower all the way down. Lowering down, bend both knees, grab hold of both ankles, setting up for bow pose. Kick your feet back and lift up. Just notice, because we did the one side of half moon sugar cane, that your left might feel a little bit more flexible, less stretch because of the extra stretch. And then release the ankles, push your way back up to plank, press back down dog, step your left foot forward, push off your back foot, lift your right leg up. Option to have your hand with a block. You could just stay in half moon, not necessarily a back bend until you bend your knee and grab your foot and then kick the foot back, lifting the chin, push your leg straighter, breathe deeply. Okay, and then release your foot. Then step back. This time lower down onto your elbows for forearm plank position. And pause and hold. Don't worry, we won't be going for new records for forearm plank. For this, just lower your knees down and then the front of your hips down for Sphinx Pose. Now this is a back bend. Isn't this great? A little bit of an easier back bend. Now the option to turn this into one-legged frog pose, Ekapada Baikasana, not Bakasana like crow pose, but just turn your left forearm in, bend your right knee to grab hold of your ankle or foot like bow pose, what we did earlier on the belly, or you can hold the big toe side of your foot and then pull the heel in towards the outer hip, working that. And then there is a further move that we'll explore too, which is then to try to start to hold the foot through the inner crease of the elbow like that, and it takes a little bit of wiggling. For me, it's really just I end up holding the big toe hooks into that slot in the elbow. Okay, and then switch to the other side. Bend your left knee, reach back, grab hold of your foot with your left hand. It can be an achievement just to hold the foot, so be proud. Option to hold the big toe side and then pull the heel in. And then also option to go more for, it's a bit of a queen wave for the mermaid, merman, merperson, merhuman position. And then turn to face forward. Breathe deeply. And then release. Slowly push your way back up to all fours position. And then lift your right leg back behind you. And reach back with your right hand to grab hold of the foot. So same hand, same foot. And then kick your foot back, lift your knee up high. And then release and switch sides. Lift your left leg back. Reach your left hand back. My Met dogs do it well. Kick your foot back, lift your knee higher. I don't know what that means in that comment. Met? Like New York Mets? Okay, and then release. Slowly rise up into a kneeling position. Place your hands to your hips. Puff up your chest, lift your shoulders up, move your shoulders back, and start to lean back. I know some people like to support their neck and just not go back so far. That's a-okay. You could lean back quite far with the hands to the hips, or you could even put your hands to your heels. Camel pose. And then push off to come back up. And then from there, lean to your left leg, step your right foot forward, and then push off of your back foot to step all the way up. Oh, mer dogs, I like that. And then lift your right leg behind you, grab your foot with your right hand, kick your foot back for dancer's pose. And unless you're used to, say, Bikram yoga, nobody really kicks back that intense, but you can end up kicking back quite intensely and lifting the foot up super, super high. So just know what your threshold is, because it can be quite an intense position, especially if heat was involved. Not the movie, but like external heat. You're in a hot room. Okay, and then release your foot and switch sides. I like to hold the ankle just because it takes one other joint out. It's not even the ankle, it's the base of the shin. Holding the left foot, right arm forward, kick your foot back, lift your knee higher, maybe even look forward, lift the knee up, pull back with your left hand. Sometimes gym people say there's no pulling actions in yoga. Well, that's what the left arm is doing right now. It's pulling on the left leg, so you can resist and push back against that pull and lift your knee higher. There you go. We got the pull. Who got the pull? You got the pull. One last breath in. And then release. Standing back bend. So easier, cup the back of your head, lean back. A little bit more challenging, arms alongside you. Lift your shoulders up, lean it back. More challenging, hands beside the hips, and then lean back. Most challenging, excuse me, further challenging. Take the hands lower, lower, lower. I'll see if I can spot you. High, high, high. Ooh. Hoping that I don't fall over and get that on film. So go to your edge. Some people make it look really easy to just drop back. Me, not so much. I can then see myself. That is a weird image of myself. Okay, and then once you arrive, place your hands to your hips and then hinge forward just to feel how it feels to forward fold at this point, because we haven't done very much. Down dog is about it. Woo! Feels a little different. Then step your right foot back and lower your knee to the floor and rise up, place your hands to your front thigh. So we've already done this. We're not doing it again. We're opting to go a little bit further, which is to grab hold of the foot. Some may need to double up their mat just to give a bit more padding for the knee. That's a great option. And then you can reach back, grab hold of the foot. Or as you did before, you could hold the big toe side and then pull the heel in and moving the heel to the outer hip. So some people can literally get their foot to about this position. That's as far as this foot's going for me. And then the mermaid option is to just start to move the hand a little lower and further to the right, and then it's queen wave. Hello, Harry, come back. Don't go. And wiggle the hand, and eventually you hold the foot through the inner crease of the elbow. You can then face forward. This is where it gets pretty intense, to reach up and over and then move your head back. Woo-wee! We're only 20 minutes into practice. That's pretty deep. And then slowly release the foot to come out. And great news, two sides. So switch to the other side. You can just switch back to down dog, right foot forward, left leg down. My right knee is a bit more sensitive, so I like to double up on that one. And then reach back, grab hold of the left foot. The body's interesting. The right shoulder's stronger, more stable, but the right thigh is a little bit harder to do that pose than the left. So we'll see how I go on the other side. So holding the left foot. Nice thing on the camera angles, you can't see. And then pull the heel into the outer hip. Look forward. Might be just a good enough stretch for the front of your thigh right there. Or working that queen wave technique, wiggle, wiggle, wiggle. Might lose all or half of your arm hair like I am. Oh, I can still get up and over. It's not quite as deep as I have in the past, but we're only 20 minutes in. This one's pretty intense. Okay, and then gently release your foot. Then step back plank pose. Lower your knees. Bend your elbows. Slowly lower down. Now place your hands alongside your chest on the floor. So fingers about nipple line. Then bend your knees. Bring your big toes together and the inner heels. Working towards Raja Kapotasana. So it's just almost like King Cobra or Royal Cobra. Push your arms straighter and then rise up. Move your shoulders back, move your head back. I have friends who can then just like put their head to their feet. My nieces can do that. I've got to wait till I can see myself on the screen, how close I am. Got to get my hair a little bit longer. Not happening. And then push back, downward facing dog. Okay, and then come forward to all fours. Lift your right leg back. A little different this time. Reach back with your left hand, so opposite hand holds foot. Kick your foot into your hand and twist to the left. Or, this is for the wild folks, rise onto your right fingertips. Or even rise up to tiny dancer position. If you're getting really comfortable in this position, you can add the extra twist to the left. I'm happy just staying a little bit more facing forward. And then hand down, release your foot, lower your knee, lower your hand, and switch to the other side. Lift your left leg, reach back with your right hand, grab hold of your foot, kick your foot into your hand, lift your chin, twist to the right. Option to go left hand on fingertips. Whoa. Kick the foot back, and option to hover the hand completely. Try to get to a point where you can balance and hold the position. I'm not as strong on this side. Might have been all the drinking I did before. Whoa, going down. So just having fun, playing around. The point is to not be able to do all the poses all the time. It's nice to have things that we're still working on and challenged with. Okay, and then back to all fours. Tuck your toes, lift your knees, turn your knees over to the left, lie on your right side, and then just roll onto your back. On your back, bend your knees, bring your feet close to your hips, dig your elbows down, robot arms, and lift your hips up. You're welcome to walk your shoulder blades towards each other on the back, to then clasp your hands behind your back, push your feet a lot, lift your hips up high, lift your chin out of your chest, full bridge pose. Setu Bandha Sarvangasana. Breathe for 3, 2, 1, and then come down. So you're welcome to go for bridge again, or put your hips under a block if that'd be a preference for you. Or go for Urdhva Dhanurasana upward bow, which we sometimes call to as wheel. It's not technically wheel, but if you're following along with that, push with your hands and feet, rise up to the top of your head, move your hands back and a little bit wider, then your head back from your elbows to your armpits, pull your arms back, push your legs straighter, and then lift yourself up. Option to go onto tiptoes. Oh, and then pressing the legs straighter to stretch out the chest for 3. And if you're in bridge and want to go one-legged, you're welcome to do that. 2 and 1, and slowly lower yourself down. And good news, wheel is still just a warm-up. Roll over to the right, rise back to downward facing dog position. And then from downward facing dog, slide your right shin forward for Pigeon Prep position. Here in Pigeon Prep, pull your knees back so you can puff up your chest and be upright. Just a couple of different options for this pigeon. Lift your back foot and then reach with your right hand. So just do the opposite hand to foot. And I don't think I can do the mer person version of this, but you could get to the balance point where you then lift your left hand up. There is the mer version of it where you pull the foot in and then wiggle. So it's right elbow holds left foot. It's really weird. Oh, yeah. I can get in the hand position, but I'm not going to be able to balance. Failure. And it's on video. Everyone's going to remember. Release. Lower your hand down. So cool. And then switch. Slide your left shin forward. Puff up your chest. Pull your knees in. Lift up. Get to a point where you're strong. So it's not the hip opening version of pigeon. It's the back bend version. So the legs are strong. Then lift your back foot. Reach behind you with your left hand. Hold the right foot. Kick your foot back. Lift your chin. So cool is one of the few family home videos that we have from a Christmas where my brother hyped up this awesome Christmas present, and it was okay, but of course I was filmed saying so cool and then throwing it across the room. That happened 2 Christmases ago. Option to reach your right arm up. Whew. And then lower your hand down. Lower hand down. And then for this one, it'll just be a swing your back leg forward. So you're in a seated position. And then place your hands behind you with your knees bent. Up to you, fingers forward, out, or back. When I teach, I scan the room, and it's about equal depending upon what students like. I tend to go middle of it. So just out to the side, push with the feet, lift the hips up. Easier version of sunrise pose. And then lower your hips, straighten your legs, and then the more intense version of it. So hands behind you, push with your heels so much that you lift your hips high and can bring the bottoms of your feet together. Again, you could look back, up, or forward at your toes. Those are great toes, looking great. Okay, and then lower your hips down, swing your legs back, return to the dog. Come forward, plank pose. Lower down halfway or all the way. Lift for your back bend of choice. Pause and hold the position. My pose of choice is Cobra, Bhujangasana. Cobra 2 is the same position. Everything is the same in the body except the hands are under the knees, which is a long way to go. Like one hand is back there and then so is the other hand. So I'm happy in just number 1. Okay, and then lower down, tuck your toes, push back down dog. A very short counter pose, pyramid. Step your right foot forward, bring your back heel down. I'll just use one block here. Push your front leg straighter and then round your spine over your front leg. And this is not a back bend. This is purely just to calm down unless you're about to go work the night shift. I'm trying to help you sleep tonight and just balance out the body. That's why often most yoga classes finish with some reclined poses and reclined twists. Okay, then push off of your back foot, step forward, and then step back. Push the front leg straighter. You could even lift to a halfway lift position to lengthen your spine. And then from there, exhale, bow and round, just to even things out. This is going to be a 2-part practice, being that there'll be a 15-minute break for the live folks. If you want to continue your practice or continue your back bends, you have that opportunity. So just come down into a kneeling position. So sitting on your heels or between your heels, or you could open the knees and sit on your heels. And then if you want to, for the next anywhere from 10 to 15 minutes, lie all the way back. I pretty well max out on my elbows. You see my knees lift first and then I can bring them down. That's pretty intense for me. So I'll just throw that out there. If anyone wants to do that for our little 15-minute gap before the hip opening practice. If you are done, thank you so much. Please join your hands together. Take a big breath in and big breath out. And for the next little bit of time, just notice how you feel energetically. Backbend practice can replicate the effects of coffee and can also just allow you feeling more open and stronger, more courageous. Namaste.